Uh, all right, well, good afternoon. My name is Christopher Rosales. I'm a civil engineering student in the Cockrell School, and I'm excited to tell you about one of my true passions in life. Over the past year, we've been developing a vision for an initiative here at the university that applies integrated design, mixed-use development, and cooperative housing as a sustainable method of effectively housing the future generations. Our primary goal is to foster a sustainable culture of people through cooperative housing who diligently work to sustain their living environment. In this context, the plan is to design high-performance LEED Platinum residential buildings that specifically involve residents in the collaborative operation and maintenance of building systems. We'd essentially be implementing closed-loop, cradle-to-cradle systems that conserve resources, treat water, produce food and energy, and make effective use of waste created by human habitation. As a multidisciplinary integrated design group, we're hoping to deepen the connection between architecture, engineering, business, and public affairs here at the university in order to provide students with a phenomenal opportunity to gain research and design experience while gearing their talents toward creating a remarkable impact in the community. So in making a case for cooperative housing, this image depicts like a reality for millions of young adults in the United States today. Education costs are rising, competition is increasing, as well as indebtedness, and with more barriers to home ownership, young people these days also have different ambitions that are not necessarily related to home ownership. A statistic from the 2010 census revealed that 53.3%, over half of Americans aged 18 to 24, reported living with their parents, and this is approximately 16 million people who could potentially see cooperative housing as a viable option to gain independence and grow in community with a number of their peers. In Austin specifically, there's the Housing and Urban Development Office identified a huge need for affordable rental property in the city. And as Austin increasingly becomes more expensive to live in, cooperative housing naturally reduces the cost of living by providing advantages of shared resources, economies of scale, and an internal network of people on board with the mission of living sustainably, efficiently, and economically. This is an overview of Austin, and this image outlines the current unsustainable market-driven development that sadly prioritizes short-term motives over truly sustaining society for the future. The obstacle that hinders sustainability is that developers typically do not have a long-term vested interest in property, which leads to higher maintenance costs, shorter building lifespans, and complacency in innovation and design. There are many detrimental consequences associated with this type of urban sprawl that include issues of autodependency, feelings of isolation, and adverse health and environmental effects, and also increased per capita infrastructure costs. For example, transportation and utility infrastructure can potentially cost in upwards of $21,000 per development unit, which accumulates to over $1 trillion for American taxpayers in the next 25 years. The economics surrounding sustainable development is becoming increasingly important as rapid urbanization and steady increases in population continue to occur. This is a snapshot of the population in Travis County over the past 30 years, and these trends are expected to continue in cities around the world as a global issue as the concern increases as communities fail to sustain themselves. Like this is the landscape that community planners dream of. And in places like China, where countries have the need and capacity to build cities from scratch, they've learned from the drawbacks of cities, from typical modern cities, and are implementing higher density housing schemes in innovative ways to increase the overall sustainability of communities. Our intention is to employ this high density sustainability and introduce social and behavioral aspects of cooperative housing to promote collaboration and training around living sustainably. There's a lot of opportunity to do things differently, and in striving for prosperity and equality in a global community, this next slide kind of recognizes a great need in the world for sustainable development. Based on UN data, The population within Central Africa is anticipated to reach 3 billion people within the next 50 or so years, and this is a tripling, and this is the mean average, which could potentially be a quadrupling um, if population growth does not slow down. In addition to the previously mentioned negative aspects of market-driven development, this model also exacerbates urban disparity and as illustrated in this image. And the belief here is that healthy, vibrant, and inclusive communities can be sustained universally by fostering compassion and empathy as drivers for sustainability. The plan is to design and develop facilities that go beyond sustainability, that actually produce resources and generate revenue to offset the disparities of the severely impoverished, primarily focusing on orphans in developing countries. Part of the business plan is to institute a form of philanthrocapitalism that continues to characterize the philanthropic sector. Our group aspires to connect foundations, corporations, and public entities to form public-private partnerships to sustainably invest in assets around this vision of promoting the global good. And as not-for-profit work, the goal is to develop a sustainable revenue stream for philanthropic use and apply the same sustainable design principles in developing cooperative housing co-ops to develop large-scale orphanages to meet one need with the other. And so our first goal with this vision is to conduct a preliminary feasibility study for an initial project in West Campus. We are assembling teams of students and seeking faculty expertise to brainstorm kind of a lead platinum concept for West Campus that would simultaneously function as a research-based live-in laboratory for sustainable habitation in an urban environment. In West Campus, we hope to take advantage of the unique development overlay to incorporate retail and restaurant components that complement kind of cradle-to-cradle food and energy systems, and also combine kind of design, build, construction with owner operation and maintenance schemes to incentivize investments in long-term efficiency and promote cost savings, that will allow us to leverage a greater amount of funding toward philanthropic use. And so with this co-op, we're pushing to establish like a breeding ground or a training ground for innovation and outreach in the context of sustainability, where residents learn important concepts of building, operation, and maintenance that will ensure that sustainability is achieved kind of beyond commissioning. And we're striving to nurture these efforts here at the university to catalyze sustainable change and launch an international mechanism of achieving universal progress. Thank you.